Hey lovely people, so I have been procrastinating till the cows come home about doing this video because it's not an easy one. There may be some foul language, not that I don't script anything. I kind of know what I want to talk about, but I always just speak off the cuff. But I always want anything that I put out there to be authentic, and I swear in my real life and it conveys emotion. It's not that I think swearing is cool. Sometimes it makes things funnier, but yeah, just pre-warned, there may be. So I wanted to discuss why I dropped out of school at 17. So when I was a kid, I was kind of naturally academic. I enjoyed learning a lot, and I was a somewhat difficult kid socially. I had a chip on my shoulder and a bad temper, and I was very sensitive. And I used to retreat into learning a little bit. And I used to retreat into learning for other aspects of things in my childhood, things that were missing. But I used to do it because of my lack of social skills. So as I was kind of like working through getting older, my temperament was getting better and I was kind of settling down, and the teachers were really tolerant with me. I cannot complain at all. But I always wanted to, there was this kind of pressure on me to be the first person in my family to go to university and all the rest of it. But I wanted to join the army. I wanted to go in the SAS. That's all I wanted. And I spoke to my dad about doing it straight after GCSEs, and he was like, no, that was the end of the conversation. So I had to do A-levels and go to uni first, or definitely do A-levels and then maybe go in the army and get the army to put me through university. Okay. And then as I was doing A-levels, I was about a year through, and I was doing well academically, but wasn't doing particularly well socially. I was struggling a little bit. I was very resentful about being there. Resentment is a waste of time. It is basically poisoning yourself and expecting someone else to get ill. I heard that saying years ago about resentment, and it's so true. But anyway, I was young and dumb and resentful and wasn't kind of making the most of it, especially socially. So I was struggling a little bit there, and before leading up to Christmas I hadn't been, I think December I probably hadn't been at all. And then just into the new year, second day of the year, Dad suddenly had a heart attack, a really bad one. I thought it was indigestion from New Year's Day dinner, and was rushed to, we got him to the local doctors, and he died on the table, and they used a defib, which are fucking loud. My God, those things, you hear them on the telly, they're not like that in real life, they're really loud. And they brought him back round and then rushed him to Shrewsbury, and then from Shrewsbury went to Stoke, and he was there for a couple of weeks. And when I was a kid, I was, and I suppose into my adulthood as well, kind of my work ethic was a big pillar of my character. So I was visiting, but I was also still working as well. And I was working at a little butcher's. And one morning I'd left Dad. He'd heard me get up. I got up super early, ran into the local village, which was 4 miles. I was so keen. Ran into Llanfair, which was 4 miles from my house. Got picked up from there, went to work, and at about 9 o'clock I had this phone call, and I was just walking from the butcher's to Quick Save to pick something up, and I was in the alleyway. I can remember exactly where I was, and someone shouted at me and said, "It's your sister on the phone," and I knew. I'll fucking edit this out. So I picked up the phone, and yeah, that was in the blink of an eye the end of my childhood. And it was weird how I reacted, because I was just like, okay, I'll come home now. And I turned to my boss and I was like, Dad's dead, I need to go home. I was really like calm about it, and then just fell apart. And yeah, it was a very very abrupt end to my childhood, and a kind of a quick entry to adulthood. And then that was it. I had no interest in going back to school then. Looking back, maybe I should have. I don't know how I'd made that work financially, but maybe I should have. But you know, hindsight's perfect, and that was it. There was no one could ever tell me what to do when I was a kid, apart from my dad. He's the only person that could keep me in line. There were some teachers in school who were good at controlling me, but in a nice way, not in a malicious way. But it was only Dad who could keep me in line, and that was it. There was no one around. So I was like, I'm joining the army. And my sisters weren't in a position to look after me. My mum never offered, my nan never offered, my aunties and uncles never offered. My older siblings from my Dad's first marriage never offered. I stayed with a friend of my dad's from work briefly, and then I said the wrong thing one night. I had a very flippant sense of humour, and I said the wrong thing one night, and I was out. No, kind of, I will give you to the end of the week. You're like, out, you're gone. And it was just literally a smart ass comment. It's one of the, it was very painful. And I slept rough for one night in the, I think they call it the grandstand, where there's like a sheltered bit at the football pitch in Welshpool. And I slept in fucking January. Maybe it was February at this point. It's probably February at this point. I slept rough in there one night, and then I went to see my sister's ex-boyfriend, who isn't a good person, but I can't complain because he took me in. Yeah, nobody else. I can't blame my sisters. They were teenagers themselves, or just out teenagers, and just lost their dad. So I cannot. And my one sister, the one above me, has been the solid rock in my life, the only solid thing that I can attach to in my life, in my adulthood. So I can't complain. But as for the rest of my family, why nobody offered to take me in, I don't know. But that was it. I was off to the army, and it took maybe a couple of months to get through all the bullshit, and then I was in basic training, and I never looked back. The thought of doing academia was gone. I just wanted to be a hairy ass para and then go join the SAS. And within a year of joining the army, I'd got through basic training. So basically exactly a year after Dad died, I was flying out to Iraq, which is mental. 18, absolutely nuts. And then a year after that, I was fully fledged paratrooper. I passed pre-para P company jumps course first time, and then I was like, this is not what I was expecting it to be. And I kind of ummed and ahed about going back into academia throughout my adulthood, and it was always going to be structural engineering. But as I've got older and different wants and different passions, I thought psychology. And then when I did my access course, I fell in love with biology, and I was like, how can I merge the two? And human neuroscience is where biology and psychology meet. So yeah, that's the plan. So 7 minutes, I can never keep this shit short. So yeah, so that's why I dropped out, and why it took me so long to get back was just basically finding stability in my life, finding emotional stability, financial stability, maturing, not being a tearaway, and being kind to myself. And it's only really in the last couple of years that I've really gone, I can actually do this. And then just took the plunge, and I'm gonna fucking smash it. I'm gonna absolutely crush it. I can't wait. I cannot wait. So, right, I try not to get too emotional. Talking about Dad's hard. I never talk about him to anybody, but how long has it been now? Almost 30. No, I'm not. I'm 40. I'm 40, so it's been 23 years. Yeah, I was 17 when he passed away, and at 34, that was a weird one. Like, I'd had as much of my life without him as with him. That was odd. But yeah, it's been a while, and it's still tough to talk about. But if you got to the end, thank you for listening, and that's basically what motivates me. These longer form ones are basically to let people get to know me a little bit better, and what kind of makes me tick, and why I'm putting myself through, I think it's 9 years, is it altogether? Year at college, 4-year degree, 5, master's 6, 3 years, 9 years. 9 years of education. Let's go.